Most investors are losing a fortune, and they don't even know it. Not because of crashes, not because they picked the wrong stock, but because they've been playing it too safe. Now think about your own money for a second. The savings you've worked hard for, maybe tucked away in safe investments with words like guaranteed, insured, or blue chip on the label. Sounds smart, right? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Those very investments could be slowly destroying your financial future. Not because of a scam, not because of bad luck, but because of hidden design flaws that look safe, while quietly draining your potential. These aren't reckless decisions. They're the same polished, trusted moves your parents or grandparents made. The ones that feel secure until you realize inflation, fees, and lost growth have been eating them alive for years. And that's why you're here. Because by the end of this video, you'll discover 7 so-called safe investments that are actually doing you more harm than good. I call them wealth termites, slowly chewing through your future while you sleep. And the first one? It's probably sitting in your portfolio right now, wearing the mask of stability. Let's be clear. This video isn't about chasing risky trends or hyped-up crypto coins. It's about something far more dangerous. The silent, invisible leaks in your financial boat. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 7 investments that seem conservative, but are built on outdated ideas, hidden costs, and assumptions that no longer work in today's world. Because here's the truth. A 3% return isn't safe if inflation is 5%. A guaranteed plan isn't safe if fees steal half your gains. And a famous company isn't safe if it's coasting on its past. Let's start with the number 1 offender. The one your advisor probably told you to hold forever. But today, you're going to see it for what it really is. Number 1, cash and high-yield savings accounts. You've probably heard it 100 times. Keep your emergency fund in cash or use a high-yield savings account. It's safe and smart. And at first glance, that advice seems solid. It feels responsible, cautious, even mature. But here's what they don't tell you. That safe approach, it's actually costing you money every single year. Let's get specific. Say inflation is running at 4%, which, let's be honest, isn't even considered high in today's economy. Now let's say your high-yield savings account is paying 2%. On the surface, 2% sounds decent for something safe, right? But do the math. 4% inflation minus 2% yield equals a net loss of 2% in purchasing power every year. That means your money is shrinking in value while sitting in that account. It doesn't matter that the number in your account stays the same or slowly inches up. What truly matters is what that money can buy. And if prices are rising faster than your money is growing, you're moving backward. Slowly, silently, but undeniably. Now imagine this happening over 10 years. That's not just a little bit of erosion. It's a 20% loss in what your money can actually do for you. It's like cutting a chunk off your future lifestyle, your security, your freedom. And you might not even notice until it's too late. And here's the kicker. Banks know this. They're not dumb. They use comforting words like FDIC insured and high yield to give you a false sense of security. But those yields, they're just enough to keep you from asking questions. Meanwhile, banks take your deposits, turn around, and earn far more lending that same money out or investing it elsewhere. It's a brilliant business model for them. But for you, it's like storing your savings in a leaky bucket and hoping it fills up over time. So what's the smarter play? Consider moving a portion of your emergency fund into ultra-short-term treasury bills. Right now, they're offering yields in the 4 to 5% range. That's not only higher than most savings accounts, but they're also backed by the U.S. government and come with the added bonus of being state tax-free. That means more of your money stays in your pocket. Another smart option is TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. These are designed to rise with inflation, not get eaten alive by it. They keep your purchasing power intact, no matter how much prices go up. And isn't that the whole point of saving in the first place? Look, your emergency fund is there to protect you. But if it's losing value year after year, it's not protecting anything. It's becoming a quiet liability. And in a world where inflation isn't slowing down anytime soon, sitting still financially isn't just unwise. It's dangerous. You deserve better than that. You deserve to have your money working for you, not quietly working against you. So take a moment to rethink where your cash is sitting. A few small moves today can add up to a massive difference over the next few years. Number 2, long-term government bonds. Let's talk about something that's often pitched as one of the safest investments out there. Long-term government bonds. Sounds secure, right? After all, they're backed by the government. What could go wrong? Well, a lot actually. And 2022 proved that in a big way. In just 9 months, the 10-year Treasury lost a staggering 18% of its value. That's not just a dip. That's a serious hit, especially from something labeled as safe. Here's the truth most people don't hear. Long-term bonds aren't safe. They're vulnerable. They're like hostages to interest rates. When rates go up, the value of those older bonds crashes hard. Think about it this way. Let's say you loan me $1,000 for 30 years, and I promise to pay you 2% interest. You feel good about it until the next day someone else offers to lend out money at 5%. Now, your 2% deal doesn't look so great, right? No one wants your bond anymore unless you sell it at a discount. And that's exactly what happens in the real world. Bonds are extremely sensitive to interest rates, especially the long-term ones. When rates rise fast, and they've been doing just that lately, the value of older, lower-yielding bonds tanks. That's why so many investors who thought they were playing it safe ended up watching their portfolios bleed. So what's the smarter move here? Instead of locking up your money for 10, 20, or even 30 years at today's rates, consider short-term bonds. They're less sensitive to interest rate swings and give you more flexibility. Another great strategy, bond ladders. These spread your investment across different maturity dates, giving you regular access to your money while still earning solid returns. And here's the golden rule. Never lock in a long-term yield unless you're truly confident that interest rates are going to drop soon. And let's be real, no one can predict that with certainty, not even the pros. Trying to time the bond market is like trying to guess the weather a year from now. You might get lucky, but more often than not, you'll get burned. The bottom line, don't blindly trust the safety label slapped on long-term bonds. Understand the risks, know how interest rates affect your investments, and stay flexible. This is about protecting your future, not just hoping it'll work out. Let's be proactive, not reactive. You've worked too hard to lose ground because of outdated financial advice. Number 3, Dividend aristocrat stocks. You've probably heard of them. Big familiar companies like Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, and AT&T. They've been around forever, and they've consistently paid dividends for 25 years or more. Sounds reliable, right? But here's what most people don't realize. A lot of these companies are value traps in disguise. Just because a company has a long history of paying dividends doesn't mean it's a healthy business today. In fact, many of these so-called aristocrats operate in industries that are slowly declining. Their growth has stalled, their innovation has dried up, and instead of reinvesting in the future, they send out dividend checks as a way to keep investors feeling good, while quietly hoping no one looks too closely at what's really going on. Take AT&T as a perfect example. For years, it was seen as a rock-solid dividend stock. Investors trusted it. But in 2022, AT&T slashed its dividend by 47%, nearly in half. Why? Because the business was crumbling underneath the surface. They simply couldn't afford to keep up the illusion anymore. Here's a metaphor that hits home. Dividend stocks can be like a sweet old grandparent handing you $5 bills every time you visit. But if their house is falling apart and they can't pay the bills, that generosity isn't sustainable. Eventually, the money runs out. That's why chasing dividends blindly can be dangerous. A 3% dividend sounds nice on paper, but it doesn't mean much if the stock itself drops 30% in value. You're not just collecting income, you're risking serious losses. And by the time the red flags appear, it's often too late to react. So what's the smarter path forward? Focus on growth-oriented companies, the ones that are actively reinvesting profits back into the business to innovate, expand, and create long-term value. These are the companies building for the future, not just clinging to the past. They may not send you a dividend check every quarter, but they're growing your investment by strengthening the business from the inside out. Remember, it's not about what a company used to be, it's about what it's becoming. Don't let nostalgia or big brand names fool you into holding on to dead weight. Your money deserves to grow, not just trickle in small payouts while the foundation crumbles. Let's stay sharp. Let's invest where the future is headed, not where the past feels comfortable. You've got a vision to build, And that starts with being honest about what's really going on behind the curtain. Number 4, whole life insurance. Let's have a real talk about whole life insurance. You've probably been told it's a smart, safe way to save money while also protecting your family. Sounds pretty good, right? But here's the truth no one tells you up front. Whole life insurance is like the Wolf of Wall Street in a tailored suit. Smooth, confident, and ready to sell you a dream while cashing in big behind the scenes. When you buy whole life insurance, a huge chunk of your first-year premium, sometimes up to 90%, doesn't go toward your future or your family's safety. It goes straight into the pockets of the person who sold it to you. Imagine paying $500 a month every month for years. After 2 decades, you might have a death benefit of $250,000 and a cash value of just $50,000. Now compare that to investing the same $500 a month into a simple S&P 500 index fund. You could be sitting on around $280,000 instead. That's a massive difference. So what are you really paying for? In most cases, it's not financial security, it's someone else's commission check, or maybe even their new Porsche. Here's the better move. Separate your insurance from your investments. Get term life insurance. It's affordable, does exactly what insurance is supposed to do, and protects your family. Then take what you save and invest it in low-cost index funds. That's how you actually build wealth and protect your loved ones. Don't let clever sales pitches steer you off course. You work too hard for your money to let it disappear into a broken system? Make choices that serve you, not the salesman. Number 5, certificates of deposit. You've probably heard certificates of deposit, or CDs, described as a safe way to earn interest. They're often marketed as low-risk savings tools, perfect for people who want a guaranteed return without the ups and downs of the stock market. And at first glance, that sounds pretty comforting. Who wouldn't want stability? But here's the real story, and I need you to hear this clearly. CDs are financial handcuffs. They give you the illusion of safety, but in reality, they can quietly cost you far more than you realize. When you put your money into a CD, you're locking it away for a set period, maybe 1, 3, or even 5 years. And during that time, you're promised a fixed interest rate. Sounds okay, right? But here's the catch. If interest rates go up after you lock in your CD, you're stuck earning less while everyone else is earning more. Even worse, if inflation rises, like we've seen in recent years, your so-called safe return becomes a guaranteed loss in real terms. Let's look at what actually happened. In 2021, many 5-year CDs were paying around 1.5% annually. But by 2023, inflation surged to around 9%. That means people holding those CDs were effectively losing 7.5% every single year in purchasing power. Think about that. You put your money away to protect it, but inflation wiped out more than 4 times what you earned. That's not safety, that's erosion. It's like signing a lease for a car with great mileage, only to find out gas prices have tripled, and now you're stuck paying more to drive it than it's worth. You can't break the lease. You can't swap the car. You just sit and eat the loss. So what should you do instead? You've got better options. Treasury bills are one. They're government-backed, short-term, and often offer better yields than CDs. Plus, you can reinvest more flexibly as rates change. You can also look into ultra-short-term bond ETFs like SGOV. These give you exposure to short-term U.S. government securities, offer competitive returns, and, here's the key, keep your money liquid and accessible. No handcuffs. The goal here isn't just safety, it's smart safety. You deserve options that keep pace with the world, not ones that quietly drag you backward while pretending to move forward. Don't let fear of market volatility trap your money in slow, outdated strategies. Number 6, target date retirement funds. Let me ask you something. Have you ever picked a target date fund in your 401k just because it seemed like the safe or easy choice? You're not alone. These funds are designed to feel effortless. Pick the year you plan to retire, and the fund does the rest. It automatically shifts your investments from stocks to bonds as you get older. Simple, hands-off, supposedly smart. But here's the truth most people don't hear, that simplicity comes at a cost. Target date funds follow a cookie-cutter formula. Everyone retiring in the same year gets the same investment mix, no matter their goals, risk tolerance, or financial situation. But you're not everyone. You're you, and your retirement plan should reflect that. Just because the fund becomes more conservative over time doesn't mean it's safer for you. In today's market, that shift often means lower returns and missed opportunities, especially if you still have years of growth ahead. And let's talk about fees. Many of these funds are quietly expensive. Between management fees, hidden fund costs, and turnover expenses, you might be losing 0.75% to 1% every year. Doesn't sound like much? Over a few decades, that tiny percentage could shave 6 figures off your retirement savings. That's money you worked hard for, and it's slipping away silently. So what's the better move? Take control. Build your own investment mix that matches your life. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can create a personalized, cost-efficient portfolio using index funds or even lean on a low-cost robo-advisor to help guide you. Either way, you're not stuck in a pre-packaged strategy designed for the masses. This is your future. Don't hand it over to a default setting. You've got goals, dreams, and people counting on you. So let's make sure your money is working as hard and as smart as you are. Number 7, annuities. You've probably heard the pitch, guaranteed income for life. Sounds like the dream, right? A safe, steady stream of money in retirement so you can finally relax and stop worrying. But before you sign on the dotted line, let's pause and really break this down together. Yes, annuities promise comfort, but the reality? That comfort often comes wrapped in complexity, hidden fees, and tight restrictions that can quietly drain your financial freedom. Many annuities are loaded with fine print. Things like high commissions for the person selling it, confusing terms, and steep surrender charges if you ever need access to your money. In some cases, you're locking away your hard-earned savings for 10 years or more just to get that guaranteed check each month. And here's the kicker. In exchange for that income, you may be giving up access to your principal. That means less flexibility for you, and depending on the type of annuity, if you pass away, your family might not get anything. So while it feels like peace of mind today, it might come at the cost of your options tomorrow. Think of it like this. You're handing over your financial car keys and getting a lifetime bus pass. Sure, the bus shows up every month, but you no longer choose the route. You lose control, and we can't ignore inflation. Unless you pay more for inflation protection, and yes, that adds another cost, your annuity income stays the same while the cost of living keeps rising. So that stable paycheck, it's shrinking in real value every single year. There's a better way. Instead of locking yourself into a rigid contract, you can build your own retirement income stream. A combination of dividend-paying stocks, a ladder of bonds with staggered maturity dates, and a flexible withdrawal plan gives you income and control. You stay in the driver's seat. You can adjust if life changes. You can grow your money. And yes, you can still sleep well at night. You don't need to buy safety wrapped in fine print. You can build it on your terms, with clarity, confidence, and the flexibility your future deserves. So what should you do instead? First, match your money to your timeline. Use high-yield savings or short-term instruments for near-term needs. But don't park long-term wealth there. For retirement, consider a mix of low-cost index funds, dividend-paying stocks, and real assets like R8s. They offer growth and income. Learn how to build a bond ladder if you want stable income with flexibility. Avoid products you don't fully understand. If an advisor can't explain it in plain language, it's probably not designed for your benefit. Stay curious, not complacent. Safe doesn't mean lazy. You can build a low-risk portfolio that still outpaces inflation and grows with your goals. If you found value in this breakdown, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this kind of content matters. Subscribe for weekly insights that help you grow, protect, and control your money. And drop a comment. Which of these safe investments surprised you the most? Let's build smarter, not just safer.